predictions episode of Podcast Reload, the general gaming podcast. Blah, 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 blah. Fucking hell!
Hey, you tried.
I tried, man. Oh, fuck it. I'm gonna pull it up. I tried.
Valiant effort.
What's up, guys, and welcome to a very special episode of Podcast Reload. It's the general gaming podcast by Sifted.net subscribers, where we invite community guests onto the show to talk about the games industry in all its weird ways. But this week, we do not have a guest. It's actually just me, your host, Vin Hill, and joining me as always is, of course, my co-host and fellow Japan dweller, Evan Piotrowski.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. So yes, we do not have a guest this week. We are actually just doing some E3 predictions, so it's just the two of us. So no pressure, Evan. No pressure.
Not at all. See if we can fill out an hour.
I don't know if we're going to fill out an hour, but we'll definitely fill out something, some podcast-ish things.
I guess it really doesn't matter, does it?
No, not really. I don't think so. I mean, it's all casual this week, so it's all good.
Right.
But yeah, we just wanted to do a bit of housekeeping. First point of housekeeping, I just wanted to talk about how awesome the community has been over the past couple of weeks, because obviously we had the unfortunate news that Sifted was actually robbed. You know, their studio was actually broken into, and Shane pretty much lost everything. He was devastated by the whole thing. They lost everything other than a beat-up TriCaster, which they eventually found underneath a quote-unquote pile of crap. And yeah, like it was a fucking horrible time. Like I just remember waking up to the text message from you, Evan, actually. I think you messaged me in the morning, it's like, you know, Sifted's been robbed. And I was like, are you kidding me? And like, I'd overslept that day, and we just found out that we lost an episode of Podcast Reload, episode 14, because of some audio file issues. But
it was a bad Monday morning.
It was a bad Monday. Yeah, not a good day. But yeah, on top of that, though, off the back of that, over the past week, there's been a lot of uncertainty to see if Sifted was actually going to survive, which was a bit scary for us all, because obviously we've come to really love the site, and, you know, the community has grown so well. But Shane and Brent actually put together a donation page just a couple of days ago, actually, and just saying, hey, you know, we need, what was it? I think it was 4,000 for the essentials list. Was it 4,000?
Yeah, so basically the essentials tier, as Shane puts it, provides the bare minimum of what they need to start producing the original content again for the site. And then they offered another tier, which is called the quote-unquote complete tier, which is basically including most of the stuff that was stolen, other than the essential stuff.
Right, so it's just like extra, like they needed they could use the extra TV in the background and stuff to display like what show is going on and stuff, you know, just to add to the complete feel of it. But saying that, even though it was only $6,000 altogether, well, I say only, but it's still a large chunk of money. It was $6,000 altogether. You know, people have just gone absolutely crazy with it, and it's now at, I don't even know what it's at about 9,000 at the minute, right? Altogether.
Yeah, just to kind of not catalog, but just recall like what happened to me is I woke up on Saturday morning in Japan. Don't know what time it was in the States. To see that Shane, as he said he was going to, had put up the donation, and at the time it was like $2,300, maybe, give or take a couple $100. And when I saw that number, I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. But I thought it was going to be similar to the first rush of Elite members.
Right, so we were going to get like a rush of people, and then it was just going to fade off pretty quick, and we'd be struggling to hit the rest, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was, just to be honest, right, that was the first thing that crossed my mind. Like, okay, like all like a core group of people threw the money at it right away. It's going to start trickling in after this point. But I mean, it was funded. The essentials and the complete were both funded within like 2.5, 3 hours from when I first woke up and saw that.
Because when I woke up and I saw it, I was talking to you on either Skype or Facebook or something, and we were just talking about it, and I was like, how long has this been going on? And then I looked at the video and it's like, oh, like 3 hours. And then I think you put in like the last bid to finally like top it off, you know, like you actually put in the last bit of money to sort of finish off the complete tier or whatever it was.
Yeah, it just crossed over. It was like 2,000. I put in enough money to make it cross over the 2,000 mark, and then I was like, all right, I think we're set.
Yeah, done.
And
right?
it just kept going.
Yeah, awesome community, man. Like with that, we just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone that donated. It's been really cool. Like we both donated. Obviously, we're on Sifted pretty much every day, 24/7, and just completely blown away by it. And I think, Shane is like eternally grateful, sort of thing. It's just crazy to see like that many people band together. And we know there's been a lot of like unique people as well, people that aren't even signed up on Sifted, and that's obviously to do with people like Brandon Jones tweeting it out, which is really cool of them. The Easy Allies guys like really helped us out as well. So we just want to say a massive thank you.
Yeah, and I think I'm sure Shane was pretty much in the dumps this whole week, and I think, we're up to like almost 10 grand in donations. Like I hope this shows him how much the site means to all of us, and that it's, he's, and I'm sure this is true. Like it's probably lifted his spirits, and he's like ready for E3, and he's,
Yeah, I think that is the important thing. I mean, just like the timing of it happening as well, which was probably the most devastating thing about it for me personally. Anyway, and I'd obviously like not as much as Shane, because Shane's like had it obviously the most of us, but like the fact that it happened on the day of Sifted's first birthday, that was just like, are you serious? Like you couldn't even plan that, it's just crazy like how that happened. And then on top of that, it was 2 weeks before E3 on Sifted's first birthday. It's like, of all the times it could have happened, like it was probably the worst time that it could have happened. And I'm sure he was just absolutely devastated by it. And hopefully now he's got a bit of a spring in his step. I hope he's sort of like, right, okay, we're back, sort of thing. Because that's certainly how I feel, and I'm sure that's how the rest of the community feels. But just want to say a massive thank you to everyone, and it's really cool to see the community come together and just know that, like, we know now like how awesome our community is, just how we all banded together for that. So that's really cool. So everyone should be proud, and keep sifting basically. So it's going nowhere, we hope. Fingers crossed. Cool. So we are going to move on. Normally we have guest questions, and we normally ask our guest a certain question every single week. We actually came up with a new question last week. Instead of like passing it on to our obvious guest, we're actually going to ask each other, we thought we'd mix it up because we never actually asked each other the question.
Yeah, we don't really ever. We've never had a chance to ask the question to ourselves. So today is probably the best time to do so. Definitely.
So Evan, I've got a question for you, man.
Yes. This is weird.
It is weird, right? Guest, you. The standing guest. The stand user, even. Sorry.
Jesus.
Terrible. Oh, my God, that was bad. I've got a question for you. If you could pick any developer to work on any game, any IP, new or old, who would it be and what would it be?
Okay, so my pick is I would like Platinum Games to make a Fist of the North Star game. Now,
Fist of the North Star?
Exactly. So let me just give a
you're gonna have
brief
to help me on this
overview.
one.
Okay, so Fist of the North Star, or Hokuto no Ken, which is called in Japan, is a Japanese manga that came out in the early 80s. And basically it's pretty much this post-apocalyptic story of, I would say, put together like the story of Mad Max, which it's heavily influenced by, with like Chinese martial arts. So there's this guy named Ken. It's in a post-apocalyptic world. He looks like he's straight out of Mad Max. He's got like full leather gear on. He's got shoulder pads. He's got gauntlets on his arms. He is basically, in the beginning of the anime, his girlfriend gets stolen from him, or kidnapped, as happens, and his best friend betrays him because of lust for his girlfriend.
This sounds so Japanese already.
Yeah, and his friend, they both know martial arts. They fight. Ken loses. He basically gets thrown off a cliff and gets resurrected. So he's basically this kind of Jesus Christ figure. And so the whole manga is like him kind of bopping around the wasteland and just destroying everyone in his path. And the thing is, like, he knows like this martial art that it's very, very deadly style that he knows all your puncture points or your what do you want to call them? Like the
like pressure
acupuncture
points or whatever, right?
pressure points. Yeah. And so like he could like poke your pressure point and make your brain explode, which he basically does to every enemy that he comes across. So it's always like a bunch of dudes with like green mohawks on motorcycles going into these towns and like killing everyone, and then Ken kind of wanders in like the Wild West and like saves the town, and it's basically just like a bunch of guys kind of fighting each other in this post-apocalyptic world with martial arts. It's fucking great, and it's like really big in Japan in terms of like pop culture. Like it's seeped into pop culture, whereas if you ask anyone if they know Fist of the North Star, even if they've never seen the anime or the manga, they know it. They know about it. It's part of pop culture, like The Simpsons, although probably not to the extent The Simpsons. So there's been games like stretching back to like the Famicom, Fist of the North Star games, but kind of pushing forward to more recent games. The Omega Force, the developer that works under Koei Tecmo.
Okay.
They make the Dynasty Warriors games and like Samurai Warriors and Hyrule Warriors. They've made 2 Fist of the North Star games that are complete garbage. It's Vin, we've talked about this stuff. It's like terrible animations. The textures are horrible, canned animations, all this stuff. They're just absolutely garbage games. I would love for now, due to what happened with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think we've kind of realized that Platinum Games has like a good team and a bad team, or at least they've released.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, they did Star Fox. I know there's like hot dispute about this, but like Star Fox wasn't that great, and like whoever made that game, they aren't the same team. Though.
Yeah, like I'm a bit worried at this point. Like you look at your Mad Worlds. Yeah.
So if someone was to do it, like you'd get the good team to do it, is what you said.
Yeah, I want good Platinum to make this game.
Right.
And if good Platinum is on it, like Bayonetta Platinum, Vanquish Platinum, Bayonetta 2 Platinum, Mad World Platinum, I think that they would make an awesome Fist of the North Star game. Finally a beat 'em up that's worthy of the name of Fist of the North Star. So sorry, we needed a bit of history on that one, but I'd love to see that game. It's close to my favorite anime and manga of all time, so I'd love to see a awesome game. Cool. Yeah. So Vin, if you could have any studio, publisher, developer, doesn't matter, to make a game, what game would that be, and who would make it?
This is a tough one for me because I've got sort of games like my dream games. Like I've always wanted like a Pokemon MMO. I've always wanted like an Assassin's Creed set in Japan.
I think everyone's wanted both those things, and yet they're not. They don't exist. Yeah,
it's strange. So like thinking about that, like scrapping all that away, I'd actually get a developer who actually owns an IP, and they could make this game. So this is as close as it could get, but I don't think anyone's really thought about it. And that would be a new Tenchu game made by From Software.
Okay.
But made like the Dark Souls games are.
Interesting. So
like super, like you can get killed really easily sort of thing by just like rival samurais and stuff like that, like in feudal Japan.
So Neo, basically.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of, but like more, like a lot more grounded in just like difficulty as well. I mean, because like if you got hit once by like a katana, that's it, you're done. Like that's normally how like fights between samurai happened,
Oh, like the old Bushido Blade games.
Right. Yeah. So imagine that, but like open world in a massive city, like old Kyoto or something. Just like a load of samurai walking around, and there's rival factions and stuff, just have like the slow pace of like a Souls game.
Sure.
I think that could be really interesting. So I think that would probably be up there outside of the obvious ones. I mean, I've always wanted an Assassin's Creed set in Japan for obvious reasons, but
right.
Yeah, I think like thinking outside of that box. So I don't think anyone's really thought about that. And the interesting thing is that From Software actually own Tenchu. They actually own that IP.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they made Tenchu Z or Tenchu Z, depending on where you are from the world.
Did you?
But that was on the.
Did you play that game?
Yes, I did, and it was reviewed horrifically, but I loved it. It was one of them guilty pleasure games, which I had, actually. Like, I really loved that game.
In the timeline of recent From Software games, where did that one come out?
That one came I think that was the one before Dark Souls.
Okay.
So that was their last IP that they worked on before the Souls games. So Demon Souls.
Oh, okay. Oh, so they've definitely, I mean, they've polished their game.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
As a studio,
the jump between, Tenchu Z to Demon Souls is just, it's like, who the fuck did you hire? You know, it's just it just came out of nowhere. But apparently they did hire someone that was Miyazaki, obviously, like the director. Like Miyazaki apparently, I don't know if you know that story. Like, I think you might have told me, or someone told me. It was on the podcast, actually.
Was it?
Someone told me, like, Miyazaki played Ico for the first time. I was like, oh my god, I want to make games. And then that's when he got the job at From Software, and then the rest was history.
I don't know if I said that.
I don't think you said that, but I think one of our guests definitely said it. Okay. Like, they were definitely talking about it. But yeah, so I would have a Souls-style Tenchu game from Software. I think that could be an interesting mix. But without the canned animation and garbage, because that game seriously needs polishing. But yeah. Speaking of games we've actually played.
Right.
Finn, we should probably move on. What
have you been playing?
What have I been playing? I have actually been playing Bloodborne. Well, I played Bloodborne. I finished it. And we were going to talk about this. We did talk about this last week, but obviously we lost episode 14 to a corrupted file. And we'll definitely have our guest, the Impartialist, back on the show soon. But I spoke about it last week, and I finished Bloodborne. I finished it, and I still kind of walk away a bit disappointed by it because of the game mechanics really let that game down, along with the story. The story was just a mess, man. Like, I had to watch like 3 videos afterwards online just to like grasp what the hell was actually going on, because everything was just really ambiguous to the point where I thought, okay, there must be, like, the story must be this. Like at one point I was convinced that the whole story is about some father that was by the bedside of his like pregnant wife or something, you know, because you constantly through the game you hear like babies crying, you know, some enemies like some hidden bosses that you've killed drop like a third of an umbilical cord or something, and there's a load of references to like cesareans and stuff like it's like really screwed up. But like I was convinced at one point, like there's like when after the credits rolled, some guy's just gonna wake up next to his hospital bed and he's had like this crazy sort of like nightmare, like, oh my god, like what if my baby dies or something. Right. But it wasn't anything like that. It was something so left field. And I mean, if you finished Bloodborne, like, you're probably laughing at me right now just thinking like, how? No, like, it was so different from that. The ending just left me like my jaw hit the floor, and I was just like, no, like that's no. Like, I was not happy about it whatsoever. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, obviously, like, the canned animations were a huge problem throughout the whole game for me. Just, hitting one button and then, you know, have to wait for one animation to finish before the button command actually kicks in. Like, that stuff is really arduous to me. Like, don't ever, Evan, like, from what you've said about playing games, don't ever play a Bloodborne game, ever.
Yeah, I have like, slight anger issues when it comes to games. Like, I think I told you, like, even on this podcast, like, I almost broke my gamepad playing the final boss in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So having said that, as much as I want to play Bloodborne, and I love everything about it, but possibly actually playing it, same. I don't know if this game's for me.
Yeah, I mean, the game looks absolutely beautiful. You know, like it works really well. You know, the design of it is beautiful. The whole idea of it works.
Oh, the art direction, the character design, the level design, everything looks.
All that stuff is beautiful. It's perfect. But it's just like there's a lot of little things which really just make the game infuriating, and not like to the point it's because you're a bad player. It's like the game is just being more difficult for the sake of being more difficult instead of making it more challenging. There's a totally big difference between them two things, and I'm a great believer in that. So I mean, a good solid like 7 out of 10 game. I enjoyed it, but like I had to push through the frustration a lot, and I did finish it. I did get around to it, and I did get all 3 of the third umbilical cords. I'm sure Souls, like Bloodborne fans, will know what the hell that means, but you don't. But it means something. Hey, all right, like I've seen some shit. That's all I'm gonna say. All right.
Well, at least
I've seen some shit.
If you want to get into arguments about whether or not these are good games, you can back yourself up, because not only have you beaten the game, but you got the 3 umbilical cords.
Yeah,
I guess.
And On a truthful note, that is probably the main reason why I did finish the game. It's just so we can have them arguments with people. Because every time I talk to a Souls fans, and it's like, "What do you mean you don't like Souls? Have you ever finished a Souls game?"
Oh,
That's
man.
the normal opening question. And this time I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, I have finished a Souls game."
And I got all 3 umbilical cords too.
Yeah, right. Like
See?
you don't know what that means, but yeah, it means something. So
Okay.
yeah.
7 out of 10.
I basically finished Bloodborne so I can have arguments with other Souls fans. That's it. But yeah, anyway, how about you, Evan? What have you actually been playing like over the past couple of weeks?
I think you mean what have I started to play and also stopped playing.
Oh yeah.
So a couple months ago, I picked up Dragon Age Inquisition on a PlayStation sale for the PS3. Which I think a lot of people didn't even know that game came out for the PS3.
I didn't until you told me. So
right.
Yeah, I am definitely one of them.
So obviously I have a PS3. I'm running out of things to play. Went through my history. It's like, oh yeah, I bought this game. Let me download this, give it a try. I'm running out of stuff to do. So I downloaded that game and played about 5 hours of it and deleted it from my hard drive because by far, at least on my PS3, it is the most poorly optimized game that I've ever played.
I noticed how you struggled to even say game then. It's like
it's
optimized slideshow even?
It's so bad. Like, let me count the ways. The frame rate, it looks like a slideshow. It's that bad. It's just at one point I spun the camera on my character. And I was just like, oh my God, it's the worst frame rate I've seen on the PlayStation. Okay, so you kill an enemy and the loot's supposed to drop where the enemy died, and the loot gets transported meters away. I walked in a house once and some oranges on a shelf disappeared, and I was like, whoa, what was that? Went back, reappear, walk forward, disappear. During cutscenes, I've had cutscenes start where characters have had no armor, and as the cutscene's going on, it's like pop, okay,
like
armor,
pop it in.
yeah, and then it's like pop texture layer, pop final texture. It's that bad.
Yeah.
Like there's points in that game, like even in the beginning, it's like from Haven, I think you go to the Hinterlands when you start like your main questing, and you go into the Hinterlands. It's kind of like this kind of rocky terrain mixed with like plains and stuff. And like you're just walking, and you just see kind of the trees and mountains and stuff in the distance, and you stop, and you look, and it's like pop, 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 like popcorn. The textures are coming in.
Jesus Christ, that brings up a big question. Now, I mean, there's a lot of games like that on the PS4 that are also on the PS3 that are just so poorly optimized. It's like, why did you even? I mean, Shadow of Mordor gets a lot of flack as well. Like that. Apparently that game is just a completely different game. Like they've completely took out the sort of chieftain system where like people get promoted into.
System,
yeah, the Nemesis system.
Which is like the main reason that game is awesome.
Yeah, that's just not in the PS3 version. And apparently on top of that, it's a massive bag of mess. Like it's outside of optimization, like just poor frame rate and stuff like that as well. So yeah, it's really strange. But yeah, man, like the PS4 version is gorgeous. Like it actually runs really well. Like the frame rate's beautiful. Like that game won Game of the Year as well.
Right,
and it's really surprising.
And I've never stopped a game because of performance ever. And I remember I was just trying to figure out like what build I wanted to do, at least what points to put my skills into for my mage. So I just watched a YouTube video, and he's like going through the system, and at the end of the video he kind of shows like what. Okay, so I picked this spell because of this, and then I'll show a video of him actually, in battle. And I saw it, I was like, oh my God, look at those particle effects. Like, look at that frame rate. This looks awesome. So I couldn't keep playing it. And I feel bad because I got about 5 hours in, and like that, I knew I was like, this is a game for me. Like I could get really deep into this game, but I couldn't do it. It was that bad. It was terrible. The game froze on me a couple times. I had to restart my PlayStation 3. It was just couldn't do it. So I played a bit of Super Mario Maker. Other than that, Super Mario Maker's always
that's
good.
Quite a jump.
Great game. They just released an event course for Shaun the Sheep, which actually I was surprised Shane had never even heard of Shaun the Sheep.
I suppose it's a British thing, right?
I guess so. It's really popular in Japan with like younger kids.
Oh, really?
The show's on. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
For one reason or another, it just took off in Japan. I've seen kids
Yeah,
with like
random
little
things make it, man.
yeah, yeah. So that's probably why they put him in there. So you have to beat the course to get the character in the game. So finish the show on the sheep course.
So you're getting the show on the sheep.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, played a bit of Mario Maker to cleanse the palate.
Cool.
But yeah, awful game on the PlayStation 3.
Awful. I'll tell you what, like when you because it's obviously coming over for E3 and we're going to be doing some stuff for that. Obviously for the listeners, but
Right.
when you come over, I'll install Dragon Age onto my PS4 because I've got it on my got it in my backlog. So I'll show you it in action, like a full friends, just to make you cry a little bit.
Let's play through like the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Man,
I want to see because it's fresh
beautiful.
in my head. It's fresh in my head.
Right.
I'll be able to compare
Yeah,
it.
exactly. It'll be really interesting to see you react to it. But yeah, anyway, we should probably move on. We're going to move on into our main topic. We're not actually doing the small three this week. We're actually going to do an E3 sort of prediction special. And what we're going to do, we're basically going to go through each of the major conferences, the big ones, like we're going to sort of wrangle all the third parties together into one. But we're going to take a few minutes to just talk about each of the the console manufacturers and the third-party bunch and just go through what we think is actually going to happen. That being the obvious ones or that being stuff that's been rumored or leaked or just things that are just completely out of the blue as well. Like we're just going to come up with some bold stuff as well to see what we can come up with. Yeah, and just talk about it. It's going to be pretty casual. We're not going to go too crazy about it. We're not going to have anything too structured or anything. But yeah, so we're actually going to kick off with PlayStation. And I thought we should probably just go nuts with this because obviously we're both PlayStation owners,
right?
And yeah, so what do you want to see at the conference, man? Like, what is the big thing?
So this is just what I want to see in general. What I'm looking forward
to.
I am looking forward to probably The Last Guardian.
Same. Yeah, I think that's the big one.
That's the big one for me. Yeah, definitely. At this point, it's one of those things. Do they release it right now? Do one of those weird like PT things? Is it going to be August? Is it going to, okay, so yeah, that's the main game that I'm looking forward to. I guess the only thing about it is when is it going to be released? I say, of course, this year.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be this year. Like,
right.
I can't, even if it's like December 31st or whatever, like I honestly think it's going to make it. Like it should do. I mean, they've been pushing it hard. Like I don't think they would have said 2016 unless they were certain it's going to be 2016.
Right. I'm thinking fall.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit. Hopefully, it's like the end of summer, like August. But I don't know. I think it.
Right.
I don't really have an exact set date, but I'd say fall.
Yeah, I've kind of obviously got this massive sort of bold prediction, which I've been saying for a while now. Like a lot of people are laughing at me on Sifted, but I think that there is a chance that they could just come out on stage and be like, it's out next week or it's out right now or something, because they have like year in year out for the past few years. They have done a few of those where they've just said, okay, this is out now, and you've never even heard about this, So. Yeah, I think it's a possibility, but if it isn't, then I'm probably saying like an October release. I'll say October 10th because that's my birthday, and that'll be a perfect day.
10/10.
10/10. I've been waiting for this game, man, since it's been 10 years in development. So it's out on the 10th.
10/10/10. Yeah.
10/10/10. See, it matches, it fits, it's perfect.
Yeah, it fits. It fits for one person on this earth. Oh, I suppose there's I'm sure there's a couple other.
Dude, come on, let's be honest. Like I'm the only one. Let's be honest. Like the thing, like Eco is my favorite game of all time, and Ueda has said multiple times that this is a lot more like Eco than it is Shadow of the Colossus. So I'm super excited about this game. I mean, no, you are as well, obviously, because you're a Shadow of the Colossus fan, obviously.
Yep, my favorite game of all time. So, but yeah, just looking at it, it looks the part in terms of like, is it Eco or is it Shadow of the Colossus? It doesn't have to be either, but it does look more.
Yeah, no, it
Eco
looks.
than...
Yeah, it looks more like Eco, but I think it's still going to please the Shadow fans. I hope, anyway.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, God, let's just hope it is. Like it's like it's out right now, man. I will lose my shit. I'm not even kidding. It's gonna be awesome.
I hope, like, me being selfish, of course, like, I just hope it comes out like the day the Neo comes out, so that I can just pick up my
Right.
PlayStation 4 along with the title.
Yeah.
I don't want to come back on this podcast and have the what you've been playing section filled up with you
Right.
talking about this game that I've been waiting 10 years for.
Oh man,
Yeah.
dude, I'd probably bring you over to my house and just make you sit down and play it until you finished it, and then
Might
we could
have
like
to.
talk about it. Yeah, honestly, I'm not even kidding. Like the Friday night, just come over, finish it, go home, done.
Actually, shit,
We'll do
yeah,
the podcast tomorrow.
if it does come out before I can get my hands on a Neo,
Dude, you're totally
we should
welcome
just
to
do
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would
yeah,
definitely
we should do a
that.
playthrough. Yeah,
Just
we should do
burn
a
through it
playthrough.
like start to finish. I'd love to do that. All right, well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully,
Yeah, definitely.
hopefully sooner than later.
But yeah, speaking of the Neo though, like there's obviously been rumors that it's not going to get announced until Tokyo Game Show or whatever. But do you think that we're actually going to see like the PS4 Neo or the PS4K at the conference? What do you think the chances are of that?
I think this is interesting because of the recent news about Microsoft and
Yeah,
not so much the Slim as
the Scorpio or whatever it's
the
called.
Scorpio, yeah, coming out.
Is it called?
So
Yeah, yeah.
I think this might be something like they want to get ahead of each other, or they might be judging like what they want to do. Because I think someone had said, or I don't know exactly who said it, but it had been said on podcasts that Scorpio is a direct answer to the Neo stuff. Now, I
Right.
don't know if that's true, but that's what people have been saying. So,
Yeah, I think it's more to do. I mean, obviously the circulation of the question about VR. I think that's what Scorpio is the answer to, rather than because that's why the Neo is coming out. Is probably because of PlayStation VR. It's been quoted multiple times that PlayStation VR runs like garbage on the vanilla PS4, and that's why they're bringing out the Neo.
right.
And I think Microsoft are going to have to sort of have an answer for that. That being with Oculus or with it being AR, like we don't know. But
Right,
like in
yeah.
regards to Sony,
That's-
like what do you think that they're actually going to show it? Like the PS4 Neo, do you actually think it's going to be there?
All right. In terms of predictions, I say yes, they will show it, and I think that it's going to come out the same time as the PlayStation VR, and just so they can put a bundle together. And
Yeah.
I'll go even further, put my neck out there, and say it's going to be $800 for the bundle.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
No,
just
that's a
doing
good
I'm
one. I
doing
like
I'm
it.
doing a easy $400 put it together type deal.
I think you're right. I mean, if they come out, I don't think it's going to be called the PS4 Neo. Like I think Brent mentioned.
I hope not.
Brent's got a different name for it as well, but we won't talk about that. But I honestly think it will just be called the PS4K. That's the gimmick behind it. It's it upscales to 4K. I think it'll be $400 just to follow that gimmick. It's just
Well,
gonna be
what they're pushing is in the name itself, so that's very helpful for people to remember.
exactly. It's like you remember when the 3DS was first announced and they had a different name for it. I can't remember what it was originally called.
Oh
It's like
man,
the 3D. I can't even remember what it was called anymore because it's just been pushed on my brain. But like all the fans just automatically called it the 3DS because it was 3D and it was a DS. Like, duh, makes sense, right? PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4K, duh, makes sense. Like if they don't call it the PS4K, like it's just going to be weird. Like I'll probably forever call it the PS4K, regardless.
Well, it's like people are already calling it that. If they had a different name in mind, unless it's like really awesome, I'd say, if I came up with like the cool name, I'd be like, just whatever, just change it to the 4K. It sounds better. Everyone's calling it that anyways.
But like in terms of actual predictions, yeah, I think $800 is a good price for a bundle. Definitely, I think the PS4 Neo or the PS4K is probably going to be $400 by itself just because of the name of it. It's like PS4K, Q4, $400, just all about the fours,
Man, you're all about it's like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 4, 4,
right.
4, 4,
I know,
4.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's got a synergy. Like it makes sense. Like why not, right?
Hey, decisions are based on stuff like that every now and then.
True,
So.
very true. But like speaking of PlayStation VR, I do think one of my bold predictions is probably No Man's Sky VR is probably coming to the to PlayStation VR.
Okay.
I'm kind of like adamant on this, actually. I'm pretty confident that this is probably going to happen. And the reason why I say this now, especially, is because obviously Sean Murray just announced that they've got a bit of a delay, and it's delayed by a couple of months, which just happens to be right next to the release of the PS VR. That's sort of, that's interesting, sort of thing. So,
Right.
I don't know. It just makes sense. Like, the PlayStation VR needs a killer app, and I think that will probably be it. Like,
Okay, so this is a bit more of a specific thing, but do you think like when Sony does their whole VR push at their presser, is that going to be like the opener or the closer? Like, and guess what? No Man's Sky is coming to VR.
If that isn't a show closer, I don't know what is.
Sure.
I think that will be, because everyone wants this game. There's a huge amount of hype around it. They need to sell VR. Like, there's going to be a huge VR push in their conference this year. This is the game to do it. I think this is it.
Yeah. One weird thing is like what, and I don't think this will happen. But what if the game comes out, right, and it's coming out before the headset comes out? What if it reviews poorly, potentially, and then it's like, well, it's not even a VR seller anymore because all the people that have been waiting for that game, like Matt, right?
Right. I mean, there are a lot of people out there just hyped. Like, they don't even care if the game is bad. They just want to fly around and go from star to star. Like when we had Liam on the show, Tomb Raiders, he was talking about it. He was like, "Yeah, I'd totally be cool if that's just what you do."
Right.
Like I'd pay $60 for that. And it's like, oh, fair enough. Like, especially if you could do that in a headset. If you could do that in VR, then yeah, right on. There's plenty of people out there who probably still buy that just for VR.
And so, the funny thing is, like, well. Yeah, when he said, like, I don't mind if the game is exactly what it's advertising at this point. Well, I'd say, like, that is crazy.
Right.
I've checked myself by totally buying into, like, if The Last Guardian, I'm going to play that game and I know I'm going to like it. Yeah. So I get what he's talking about.
Yeah, I understand. I do understand. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there like that as well. So.
I'm happy with what The Last Guardian is going to be, as much as I can, predict that, and I'm sure people like fans like Liam are going to be happy with what No Man's Sky brings to the table.
Yeah, definitely. But moving on, we should probably talk about sort of leaked games and rumored games as well. Obviously, God of War was sort of leaked out with a couple of concept art pieces that it's going to be set in sort of Viking times, and it's going to be set, like, there's rumors going around saying it's going to be called God of War Valhalla or whatever.
Right.
I think that'll definitely be shown. I think that's an obvious one, right?
I would say so. Yeah, from Santa Monica. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, it's the right time. They've been silent for a while. That concept art looks pretty legit. Like, as a concept artist as well, like, I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that looks real.
Yeah,
they look like production sketches to me.
And like the God of War series being as old as it is at this point, like, this is the most I've been excited to see something God of War in quite a long time.
So excited for it.
Finally, you're doing something different.
In Vikings, man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really excited for it. I'm sick of Greek.
Well, it's perfect. Like, Norse gods, like, there's so much there for them.
It's beautiful. It's perfect. Like, it just makes sense. That's the great thing about this title. It just makes sense. Yep. And there's a lot of games out there that also make sense, which don't come around. But this one is coming, and it's awesome. I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, so Vin, I have a prediction here.
Uh-oh.
So okay. PlayStation Camp, CAMP, right? The kind of it's more like a coalition. I guess it is kind of like a developer, but it's like a coalition of developers in Japan. The same people that brought out Tokyo Jungle and Rain.
Oh, okay.
I think it's been enough time that they're going to show something
different
in some capacity at the show. That's not really a bold prediction, but I think enough time has
it's passed. A good one. I mean, Sony always have their little bit, in their conference of saying, "Oh, and here's our love for the indie developers," and they always dedicate like a good 5 minutes to them, and they just like game after game after game after game. And there's some classics in there as well. It's like last year they just showed some games, which everyone, like after the Shenmue 3 announcement last year, like everyone was like, oh my God, screw whatever games are being shown right now. Like everyone was just crying in corners.
Yeah, where they do that, like, oh, and by the way, here's these 5 games coming out. And they just kind of put like the logos on the...
I mean, there's some really great games in there as well. So, yeah, I'm sure like they'll get slotted in with those guys. But, yeah, definitely. Like, you got to give your love to the indies.
All right. So, I guess quickly to wrap up Sony, I'm thinking... So, a couple games that might have a release date. I'm thinking The Tomorrow Children, Q Games.
Definitely.
Release date?
Yeah, okay. I think we'll definitely see
How about Dreams, Media Molecule?
Ooh, I don't know. Them guys might be a bit too high to get that game out.
Beta?
I don't know. Like, them guys are just floaty as hell. Like, anything could be happening with those guys. I mean, they make great games. It's just when it comes out, no one knows.
Yeah, I mean, their concept premiered at the presser that, when they announced the PlayStation 4, right? With Mark.
Yeah, that's another potential VR game, That's another one.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say there are 2 on here, but I don't want to get into them for reasons that are obvious to Vin and I, but Ben Studio, new game, possibly.
Yeah, new game.
People that made the Siphon Filter games. Sucker Punch.
Yeah, they've been quiet.
The infamous crew.
I mean, a lot of people think, Second Son only just came out, but it didn't. Like, it was like 3 years ago, man.
Right.
Like, they've been quiet for a while, so what they could be working on, no one knows. So, yeah, it's an interesting time. Could be good. But, yeah, like in the last minute to wrap it up, like, what do you think are the odds of us seeing more of Final Fantasy VII Remake?
That...
See, yeah, this was an interesting one to me. I was like, I don't know, man. If they did... I don't think they will show it, personally, because they want to push Final Fantasy 15 as much as they can.
Oh, okay. That's because it's coming out in September.
Yeah.
Is it September?
Yeah, it's out in September. Right. But the only other thing is, obviously, Square have got their own conference. So...
Okay, yeah, so maybe it's not necessarily shown at
Sony's, but it might be on the third party.
Right. I wonder if they're going to really push Final Fantasy 15, or they just say, whatever, let's just make a Final Fantasy push. And
show everything,
It's really difficult for me to separate what I want to see versus like what I think will be shown. I would love to see more of Final Fantasy VII. I'll throw it out there. I'll say, they'll show new in-game footage of that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible. I mean, people are excited about that game. But the one game which I know will not be shown, and what everyone keeps talking about, and is annoying the hell out of me personally, it's crawling me every time someone writes it. Crash Bandicoot. No, it's not getting shown.
Someone
let it go.
On some forum said that, and it spread
just
like wildfire. Right? Yeah, and it just became this thing. It's like Inception.
Everywhere. It's like I played Crash Bandicoot on Uncharted 4 not too long ago, obviously, and inside that game playing Crash Bandicoot, I was like, wow, this is bad. Like, I mean, it was great at the time, it was revolutionary, Naughty Dog did a great job on it back then, but it just shows you, like, compare that game to Uncharted 4. Like, they've come a long way, man. They are not about to just stop making The Last of Us 2, potentially, and just work on Crash.
No,
it's not going to happen. Let it go.
And at the end of the day... No one wants to see jorts rendered with the same fidelity as like an Uncharted 4 game. So,
amen.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, we should probably move on away from Sony. I think I'm probably most excited for Sony. I think you are as well, right?
Well, of course. I mean, I live in Japan. Like, what Xbox One news do I have to look forward to? The system that sells like 5 consoles a month in Japan.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but we still got to give it its love.
Oh, of course, of course. I mean, there's some stuff I'm interested to see.
There's still some great IPs coming from Microsoft. So, yeah, speaking of Microsoft, we're going to talk a bit about what we think is going to come for Xbox One, because Microsoft are in a bit of a funny place, I think, over the last couple of years, where they're sort of still trying to play catch-up against the PS4. But they actually have quite a lot of decent first-party games now, Like, I keep forgetting... Obviously, with Sea of Thieves coming out, we've obviously got Halo, we've obviously got Quantum Break. Even though it is on the PC as well, you've still got to treat that as an Xbox exclusive, because people are more likely going to buy an Xbox One over a $2,000 PC that can actually run, these games. So,
right.
Yeah, they've actually got quite a lot of IPs. But obviously, the big elephant in the room when it comes to Xbox is the rumored Xbox One Slim, the 1.5, if you will. So, Evan, what do you think of the chances of this actually happening?
The Slim?
Yeah.
Oh, I think they'll show it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think this is 100% one. I think that thing is way too big. The Xbox One. I think that we wanted to do this since day one, pretty much since it got announced. And yeah, it just seems like the right time. Like cut down the prices. There's been a lot of Amazon sort of sales for Xbox Ones over the past couple of weeks. I think they're trying to get rid of old stock. So yeah, I think now is the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've run out of like old VCR cases that they've been using to like house the Xbox One. So
That's hilarious.
let's shrink it down, guys.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think about price though?
I think if anything, they're just gonna drop the price on the old one.
Right.
Because they sort of did this with the Xbox 360 when the first slim version of that came out. They dropped the price on the original and then kept the new one the same price as like what the old one was.
Yeah, that does tend to happen, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I think they're going to do the same thing with PlayStation as well when the Neo comes out. Like, there's probably going to be a price drop on the original, So, yeah, I'm expecting probably a price drop on the original Xbox One. Bigger hard drive than the Slim, probably. It's probably going to come standard with a 1 terabyte.
It better.
It's going to look, hopefully, a little bit better.
At this point, these systems need to have at least a terabyte hard drive.
It's true, man. I mean, for the PlayStation 4 specifically, I'm digital only, and them games just get bigger and bigger and bigger every single year.
I'd love 2 terabytes, to be honest, in a your base system.
Yeah, man. I would. I mean, the good thing about the PS4, I keep fucking blowing that whistle. I'm sorry, Xbox owners, but the PS4 you can swap out the hard drive pretty easily. I'm not sure you can do that so easily on the Xbox. So hopefully the Slim will be able to have that as well.
You push the eject button and it comes out like like a VCR. I'm sorry.
There's going to be like Microsoft fanboys like finding and murdering us now.
Hey, I'm actually like one thing. Regardless of what system that I have, I'm interested in the look of new hardware.
Yeah.
It's something that I like really look forward to seeing, like what is it going to look like, the shape, the size, all this type of thing. So obviously I'm not going to buy any edition of an Xbox One just because I live in Japan.
Right.
But I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm personally on the fence about an Xbox. I'm seriously considering buying one this year.
Oh, you're moving to the States, though, aren't you?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey, if I lived back in the States, yeah, I would definitely be tempted, but just, current situation, it's not going to happen.
Right. I mean, yeah, they've got... Because my golden rule is I normally get like 5 to 10 exclusives before I buy a console. That's my golden rule. Like, I'll never buy a console where I can play just, like, other games on it from... Like, I'm not going to buy an Xbox One just to play... Call of Duty game,
right?
Because I've already got a PS4 that's completely useless. But with like Gears of War 4 coming out, obviously they've got Crackdown 3, they've got Halo Wars 2 is coming out. Halo Wars 1 was one of my favorite games of the last generation. Sea of Thieves looks awesome from Rare. Just a lot of great games, basically.
Right.
And there's a lot more coming as well, especially if ReCore could potentially be good. And speaking of ReCore, we're probably going to see that this year, right?
I say yes. I say we see gameplay.
Definitely. Maybe even a release date, right?
It could be. Could be.
I don't know.
Like, we haven't seen... The only thing that's ever been released is the teaser. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of games, like last E3 that was shown, blown out, and just being like, yo, you're not going to see this game for another year, by the way. Like, you don't even know
And then you think, yeah, right, something's going to leak, we're going to see... It's like, with this game, nothing. We've seen nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing. No gameplay, no nothing.
Hey, so you might as well release it when you can dictate the terms.
Yeah.
It's surprising that nothing has been released from this game. So yeah, I say gameplay. I don't know about release date.
Yeah, maybe not.
Like 2017. Some
right.
Yeah.
I thought, well, the caliber of developers that they got on there. Obviously, like there's Halo developers on there. There's obviously the Mega Man himself who's working on it as well, which is a really odd sort of combination. But it could work out great.
Right.
It could be a great game, and fingers crossed for it. Especially for the fans.
All right. Well, speaking of release dates, Halo Wars 2.
Yes, I think. Yeah, I mean, it just seems right. I know we haven't seen anything of this game yet, but I think, yeah. I mean, because they're probably going to release that before they even announce Halo 6, sort of thing.
I would think so.
Yeah, they're going to try and get that out as quick as possible. So I think we probably will see gameplay and we'll probably see a release date. Like even if it's like a rough window, like September 2017 or something random. You know.
Okay, and again, release dates: Crackdown 3.
Yeah, I mean, this game has been in development for a long time. You know, it's been around for a while, and it's kind of surprising that it isn't out yet, sort of thing. I mean, obviously they're working on new technology. They're working on the sort of this is the game that's using the cloud, the famous quote. You know, we're
Right.
using the cloud to process the game, and it's going to be rendered to your screen. So, like, all the processing is done on our end, and then we send you the code, and then it renders real time on your system. You know, that sort of thing.
Right.
So they've been working on it a while. I mean, if we don't get a release date this time, then you know I'll probably start to get worried about it at this point. You know, it's been a good while since these boys have been working on this game, so I think it's definitely time.
Yeah, I mean they've shown at least teasers and trailers a couple times over the last year, 2 years.
Yeah,
maybe
they've
longer.
shown in-game stuff. They've shown multiplayer stuff. They've shown the destruction off. I mean, I think this E3 is definitely their time,
Right.
so you should definitely push it as hard as you can, I think.
Okay, and the last thing I was thinking of is, and actually I didn't really look any of this stuff up. Okay, so just to tell everyone, like I've actually kept, because a lot of people are doing E3 predictions podcasts and stuff, like Game Informer. There was curated stuff on Sifted, them doing their bold
Yeah.
E3 predictions, kind of funny games, etc., etc. I kept away from all that stuff.
Right. No, it's a good idea, though, because it sort of ruins it, right?
It's not to parrot, yeah. Like I wanted to keep away from it before I did this. Otherwise, why listen to this? Just listen to those podcasts.
Yeah.
So I'm not really informed on everything. This is just stuff kind of like looking at Wikipedia pages and seeing who's going to show up at E3, like that type of thing. But the last thing I wanted to do for Microsoft is the Behemoth. Do you think? Okay, I'm curious. So like initially called Game 4, right? The people that did Castle Crashers.
Right.
Initially called Game 4, they've titled this game Pit People, but I haven't seen anything of this game. It's like a kind of like a real-time strategy game or something.
Right.
But I've seen like it's been at shows, like playable at shows, but I don't remember at press conferences this game being shown on stage. I was just curious to see if they would dedicate any time to this game, because I think the Behemoth is held in pretty high regard. Like people really enjoy their games,
Yeah.
Battle Block Theater and Castle Crashers and that. So
No, I think they might have actually. They might be at Comic-Con this year.
okay,
I
like
think.
if they've already shown footage of this game at some sort of
They
event,
have.
okay,
Yeah,
I am not familiar with it. So
Yeah, they have. I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll probably still throw it in there. I'm sure,
I thought,
like,
yeah, maybe it'll
like
show it.
PlayStation as well. They'll probably have like an indie section. You know, like, oh, look at all these indies we're still doing.
Oh, they'll definitely
awesome
do
stuff.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think in the last couple of months anyway, Xbox have sort of opened up their console for everyone to use. You know, you can actually use a standard Xbox as a dev kit now, pretty much for indies, which is huge. You know, it's awesome. So I think they'll definitely have a presence for E3. So we'll probably definitely see it in that section of the conference. Well, I hope so anyway.
Right. Oh, Vin, how could we forget Scalebound?
Of course. I don't know.
What do you think?
It's a tough one because it's obviously been delayed now to 2017, and I think if anything, they're probably gonna. If it's not there, then it will definitely be at Tokyo Game Show. So it's all about timing with this one.
So you don't see like someone coming out on stage with an Xbox One controller?
I don't think so. I mean,
Doing a
they
bit
did
of a-
that last year,
right.
and I think enough has been shown of it. I think people just want a release date or nothing now.
Maybe a collaboration with Beats by Dre.
Right. Oh Jesus! Don't even joke, man. It's going to happen already.
Oh, they
I
look
already know it
looks
now.
very similar. I will say that.
Yeah. Okay. Bold prediction: Minecraft 2.
Ooh,
They own it. It could happen,
right.
right? Probably not. They're gonna milk that cow dry.
What do you think about the Scorpio? Do you think how much time are they
No.
going to get dedicated to
They
that?
won't even touch it.
You don't think
I don't
so?
think. No. No. They're not gonna show an Xbox One Slim and then talk about their next console at the same time. It's suicide.
I just yeah.
How about you? Do you
I
think
don't know,
that
just
they'll mention it?
like the whole Neo train, which has been the talk of the town
Right.
outside of the NX. I just thought that they might try to get out ahead of that and kind
it's a possibility,
put
man.
their plans out there in terms of what the Scorpio is. Because
so you think they'll announce it, but they won't like go into detail about it? They'll just be like, okay, there's a new thing coming, and it's going to be epic. Like be excited, sort of thing.
I guess I don't know. My bold prediction is not as bold as Minecraft 2, but right. I don't think anything will be. But I say that they mention it. I think they're not going to show it, but I think they'll talk about it at the show in some respect. As vague as that is, like I just don't know.
It might be that vague, that it's just to like, put that line out there and tell people, hey, this, there is something on the way. Like, keep your eyes out. We're not going anywhere. So yeah, the only other thing which I'm sort of really looking forward to actually in the conference is Gears of War 4. I want to see more of that game. Mm-hmm. Their showing of it last year wasn't that great. It was a very dark demo. You couldn't really see what was going on. It was
a bad demo.
It was a bad demo.
It was a bad vertical slice of the game.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a great showing of the game. So hopefully, like, they show the game in a bit of a better light and give the final release date and just have a good blowout. Like, get me excited for Gears 4. I want to be excited for Gears of War again.
Yeah,
I played 1, 2, and 3. I enjoyed them. I want to see what 4 can do. I mean, I'm really excited.
Yeah, I feel bad. Like, we don't really talk about Microsoft that much on the podcast, but Gears of War 2 is one of my favorite games, easily one of my favorite games of last gen by far.
Yeah, it's a great third person shooter.
So it controls so well, and great game. Yeah,
fingers crossed for that. But yeah, other than that, like the only other thing that I want is a Lost Odyssey remaster. Please.
I saw that in your thread.
Honestly, if they did that, I would go out tomorrow and I would buy an Xbox One. I would. So yeah, that's my only other wish.
As long as that strand of hair in front of his face
moves out of his face.
If you can move it to the side, or at least when he's running, it like blows in the wind. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Mr. Walker, if you're listening, move that fucking hair,
please.
It's annoying us. Get him a brush. But yeah, we should move on to Evan's favorite and my favorite publisher of all time, especially this generation. We're going to talk about Nintendo.
Yeah, Shaun the Sheep, Event Course, Super Mario Maker.
Nintendo at E3, man. This is a tough one because obviously Nintendo came out a while ago and we're like, the only thing that we're going to be showing, the only thing that's playable on the show floor is Zelda. That's the only thing that we're going to be showing, which is exciting for Zelda fans, don't get me wrong.
I want to see this game in action.
Yeah, I mean, so do I. But the fact that is the only playable game that's worrying.
Of course,
that's the only game we're going to get a full playable blowout of. But other than that, man, like what else are you excited for? Because obviously they've said over the last few days, actually, it's come out like within the last week that there will be more stuff there. We're going to show more stuff, but the only thing that's playable is Zelda. They've only just clarified on that, which is horrific marketing. Don't get me wrong, but at least there's other stuff on the way, which is kind of exciting. So yeah, what are you specifically looking after for Nintendo?
I'm not excited about anything because I know they're not going to talk about the NX. Right. I'm not excited about anything other than Zelda. They're going to show Paper Mario. Are
you excited about Paper Mario at least,
no.
Or you just don't care about that game?
I've played the Game Boy Advance and DS Mario and Luigi series, which I like a lot. I've never played the Paper Mario series. I know that the writing is similar to the Mario and Luigi RPG games. Hearing that sounds like those are games for me, but I've just never got around to them. Games coming out at the tail end, like the Wii U is already, on its deathbed. Like, I might pick the game up. I'm going to wait for reviews. Thank God I waited for reviews for Star Fox Zero. But yeah, and then some 3DS games, I guess. Pokemon.
But it brings up an interesting point about Paper Mario, at least. Where every time I have a conversation with like a Nintendo fan, they always say, it's okay because this year we've got Paper Mario coming. But like you're a Wii U owner. You are waiting for Wii games, but you're not interested in Paper Mario.
No, I think people who like Paper Mario are the people who will buy Paper Mario. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no.
Paper Mario fans will buy Paper Mario, but that's about it.
It's kind of a niche game.
That's about it.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean,
it looks cool. I'll give it that. And yeah, I might pick it up depending on how it reviews. But
right,
yeah,
it's just interesting to me, like how not every Nintendo game is for everyone. It's a tough one to sort of cover and say, "Oh, I'm excited about Nintendo because X, Y, and Z." I think it's interesting to say that not every Nintendo fan likes all Nintendo games.
Yeah, I would say the Paper Mario series is a bit more fringe than like your Zeldas and your
True. It's more of a spin-off.
Yeah,
to the
yeah. It's like
it's
not for everyone.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, Vin. Like, what else is there going to be?
I don't know, man. Like, obviously they've got their mobile initiative, which is coming out, which is probably the most interesting thing to me. I'm not excited for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just interested in how that's going to happen. They're going to show Pokemon Go. They're going to show more stuff for Miitomo, maybe. Like, that sort of, like, are they going to announce more games for that sort of initiative? Like, do you think that stuff is coming?
E3.
Yeah.
So the only game that's playable is Zelda, right?
Right.
So I'm just running.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Like, there's nothing else, right?
The weird thing is, like, it's Nintendo, and I hate to say that because everyone says it.
Yeah.
I would think it would be a good idea to show mobile initiative stuff.
Yeah.
During
No,
E3.
I agree. Especially if the NX is going to be a mobile-based platform.
Right, and this is coming from someone like, I'm going to download Pokemon Go, and I'm going to walk around Kyoto, and I'm going to try the game out because I'm interested in it. I want to see how it works.
Man,
I want to play it.
I haven't played Pokemon in years. I don't care about Nintendo, but I will play that.
Yeah,
game.
I want to play it. I want to try it. I want to see how it works. I'm interested. Do they push it? Do they show? Is this their platform? Are they waiting for Tokyo Game Show? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a delicate time for Nintendo right now as well, because obviously not many, if any, I don't think any Western developers have really got like an NX dev kit. They don't know what it is. A lot of Eastern developers have, a lot of Japanese developers. But yeah, it's just how do they market this thing and how do they go forward with this thing? Because obviously if no third parties have got any dev kits, then they're not making games for it yet. And if they're not making games for it yet, then there's probably not going to be as many games outside of Japan.
Right, and you, the NX on you've mentioned that several times, either on the podcast or like pre or post podcast stuff. Yeah. And then Pactor said the same thing.
Yeah,
in a recent episode of the Pactor Factor. Yeah,
it's like no one else notices that. It's like everyone's expecting this console to come out and it's going to have like 15 games, and they're going to be supporting third party. They're going to have a Mario. They're going to have a Zelda. They're going to have a Metroid. All this sort of stuff. That's what everyone's hoping. But the way that the background noise is going at the minute, none of that stuff is happening. None of them cogs are turning, which need like to move that machine. That's not happening right now. The only thing that's happening right now is a lot of Japanese mobile developers are working on games for the NX. Maybe. We don't know.
Right. Well, so Vin, do you think that they're going to show their mobile initiative stuff at E3?
I think so. Yeah. I think that's going to be not their main focus. I think their main focus is still going to be 3DS because that console is still relatively healthy.
Oh, sure. Or like Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, they've got Pokemon coming. They've got, yeah.
Actually, I might pick that one up. I haven't played a Pokemon game since the original Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. Looks like a Pokemon game. I mean, I don't know if I'm personally interested in it, but it's great for fans,
Yeah. Well, it's been like, so for some fans, it's been like, it's been like 2 years since I played a game, so I'm ready to jump in. For me, it's been like 15 years, so.
Right.
Or 16 years,
I don't think.
I'm ready to jump back in.
Played one. I haven't played one since like Fire Red, like on the Game Boy Advance, the remake.
Shit, I didn't even play that. I played Blue. I still have it in my closet.
Damn. Man, you are ancient.
Yeah, yeah. I caught them all. I'm done. I thought that's the
Stop
end.
adding them.
I thought that's the end of it. That's why I've never picked up another one. It said gotta catch them all. I caught them all. Game's over.
Yeah, there's like 900 Pokemon now or something.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I don't even know how many there are. But they're running out of designs. That's all I'll say.
Oh yeah, it's too many.
You seen them things recently? Jesus Christ, they look like. I'm not even going to say what they look like, but they look like something. All right, they don't look like Pokemon. Put it that way.
Stretching themselves thin. All right, yeah. Like as much as I would love for us
to talk about Nintendo,
exactly,
that's it. It's hard, man.
At the end of the day, I'm not really excited for anything other than Zelda. Which, hey, by the way, they're going to show a lot of it, so we will get to see it. So we'll see what happens. See if it's good.
Yeah. No, fingers crossed, man. Like it is Nintendo, anything could happen. They're so inconsistent in a good way and in a bad way sometimes. But maybe they're fooling us all and they do a massive NX blowout. We have no idea. But yeah, fingers crossed. It is a good show for the fans, at least, in the Treehouse.
Yeah, Nintendo pulls a
conference.
Kojima. That'll be the headline.
Jesus, could you even imagine?
Sorry. All right, moving on.
It's all good. So moving on, we are going to talk about, speaking of third party and Kojima, third party.
Third party.
We're sort of going to wrangle everyone together. We're going to wrangle Bethesda, Kojima Productions, if you will, Square Enix, Ubisoft, EA, all them guys. So nothing too specific. Otherwise, this podcast will go on for 5 hours or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, third party. Yeah, third party, man. Like, what is the big third party thing that you would like to see from E3?
I want to see. You like
games?
Games.
I want to see games.
A couple things. One of the main things is I am a massive Dead Space fan. I think you are too, Vin.
Yeah, I'm a huge one.
A lot of people give 3 a lot of criticism. So do I, but I liked it. I thought it played well. I thought the ending was garbage. Anyways, but Visceral Games, the studio that made Dead Space, are working on a Star Wars game.
Ooh.
Doing the research that I did, going to Visceral Games at wikipedia.com. It says 2018. Now, here's the thing. When do they show it?
Yeah.
Do they tease it? Do they, I would love to see it.
I mean, they could just walk out on stage at EA and just be like, yo, we've got a load of Star Wars games coming. Here's one of them. And Visceral's in there,
Yeah. That's more of something I'd want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that because Dead Space is just so awesome. I have one.
Even I would take a Dead Space remaster.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
I would love that roundabout.
I would absolutely.
I haven't played Dead Space in years. I'd love that. That'd be great. But EA don't do it remasters, so
yeah.
Screw you guys. I hate you, EA. I don't hate you really. Like, you make good games, but make some remakes, man. Oh, remasters even. I would die for a Mass Effect remaster on consoles. That'd be great. Not running at 20 frames per second on the PS3.
Oh man,
please.
Don't. I know you haven't played Mass Effect 1 yet. Don't play it yet. Just hope that game comes out in a better condition than what I played earlier this year.
Yeah. But speaking of remasters, there's other remasters which I would love to see from third parties. I still want a Final Fantasy 12 remaster.
That is in the works, right?
Where is that game?
I don't know.
It's been rumored heavily,
a lot,
but where the hell is that game? We need that game. So many fans out there for 12. Give us it. I own a Vita. Final Fantasy 10 was great on Vita. Give me Final Fantasy 12. I want it. I need it. Everyone needs it. It's a great game.
It is a great game. A lot of people... There's a lot... Final Fantasy 12 reviewed really, really well when it came out.
Did well.
But then,
sold well.
Years later, it's the forgotten, really, really good Final Fantasy game. No one talks about 12 anymore.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, it came out at a strange time. I think it came out just as the PS3 was getting hyped up.
Right. And then, man, did that game look good on the PS2?
Man.
What a beautiful fucking game.
I don't even want to go back and look at it because in my memory, I just remember it being absolutely stunning. The vistas that were in that game were just whoa, how the hell did they manage this?
It's a bit blurry, but it still looks good, I'd say.
Yeah, it still look great.
The character models still look really good, I would argue.
Yeah, where the hell is that game? Where the hell were them vistas in Final Fantasy 13? I could bitch about 13 all day. But yeah, it's everything they learned in 12, they just forgot about it,
Apparently.
But yeah, Final Fantasy 12 remaster, I would love that.
Okay, well, speaking about whatever, reboot, remake, remaster, do you think, Vin, that Capcom is going to show a Resident Evil 2 remake?
Do I think they'll show it?
I mean, it's the 30th anniversary, isn't it?
Yeah, why not?
It's either that or a Resident Evil 7 / Resident Evil reboot.
Oh, God. Resident Evil 7 just makes me nervous, especially after 6, Obviously, they had Revelations, which did really well, and that was a completely different game. You've played them recently.
Let's stop talking about E3 and let's just talk about Revelations 2 for the rest of the podcast.
You loved it, right?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's I think for a lot of people, it's between a 7 and an 8 out of 10 on the the scale that everyone has come to the 7 to 10 scale, as Shane calls it. But no, the direction that they were going, there's criticisms to be had, but the direction they were going, I would say, is a positive direction, and I hope they take things from that. But,
Same.
I mean, going back a little bit more, do you think that they'll show anything about Resident Evil 2 Remake?
I don't know. It's a toss-up. I mean, like, if you were to throw Resident Evil 7 up in the air and Resident Evil 2 in the air, which one lands for E3 and which one lands for Tokyo Game Show is entirely up to you. I personally think that they're probably going to show Resident Evil 2 Remake at Tokyo Game Show.
Okay.
I think that seems a better fit because the Japanese fans probably appreciate the 30th anniversary a bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And then Resident Evil, yeah. See, I was going to go the opposite way.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it could go either way, you know? You just throw in 2 games up in the air,
I guess that's the
lands,
point, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we'll definitely see one of them.
Okay,
you know?
So do you want to do this? I mean, this isn't like your game trailers, like Huber versus Bossman type of like E3 predictions betting
Right.
thing, right? But
you have to do a comedy show.
Yeah, I'll say RE2 Remake E3, Resident Evil 7 Tokyo Game Show, and you're going the other way.
The other way. I think it'll be the other way.
Okay, all right.
I think it makes logical sense for 2 to be there because there's a lot of Western fans which love 2. Don't get me wrong. But Capcom are a Japanese developer, and they sort of think backwards. So that's my reason.
All right, well, hey, I'm not going to argue that reasoning, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other remaster I'd like to see. This is a bit of a left field one, but I'd love to see a Skyrim remaster.
Interesting.
On the PS4. I think that is a definite thing.
Because
it'll be easy enough to make.
Personally, Vin, I hope this happens because I actually have Skyrim sitting on my shelf.
Don't do it.
PS3, of course.
PS3, don't do it.
Exactly.
It's poorly optimized.
I've never played it. Well, I played like the opening section, the first whatever the tutorial 15-20 minute section.
Yeah.
But I've heard like, hey, speaking of poorly optimized games,
right.
I've heard just the worst things about it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's that single cell processor, man. It constantly trips them up. So yeah, it's bound to happen.
I hope you're right because it's Skyrim. I've played 20 minutes of Skyrim, but I feel like I know Skyrim because everyone constantly talks about it because it's a really good game.
Yeah. No, it's a tough one. I mean, I'd like to see it on the PS4. I'd like to see it, especially with their whole initiative that they're doing with mods on consoles and stuff. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Skyrim on PS4 with mods. That'd be awesome. Or even on Microsoft stage, anyone. Like, that'd just be cool all around. So, yeah, that's a definite...
Okay.
That's a definite thing, I think.
Okay, moving on to other third-party stuff. How about Starbreeze Studios, the publisher who brought us Payday. They actually bought. Now I'm trying to double back. 505 Studios is a publisher. Starbreeze Studios is a subsidiary of 505. Is any of this making sense to you?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Anyway, like obviously corrections are probably going to happen, but okay, Starbreeze Studios basically publisher. They published the Payday series, which I think they bought.
The shooter, yeah.
They are making a Walking Dead game.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is interesting.
I think it's... Oh, Jesus, this is going to be bad. I think it's being developed by Overkill Studios, which they own.
Okay.
Starbreeze Studios.
So basically there's a Walking Dead game coming
right.
from this said publisher.
I guess I could have just said that and we can cut probably this whole conversation out of the podcast. Starbreeze Studios, the developer Overkill under Starbreeze Studios is making a Walking Dead game, currently titled The Walking Dead. I wonder if they show it.
Probably. I mean,
I think
Walking Dead hype.
Do.
I think the Walking Dead hype is sort of dying down over the past couple of years.
You can't wait another year.
Nah, they need to get this thing out before it loses steam, basically. I mean,
no, I think it's going to be on Steam. I don't think. Sorry. Let's just end the podcast here.
You should be embarrassed.
Oh, I am.
But yeah, I mean, more Walking Dead for Walking Dead fans. I'm sure they don't complain about it, as long as it's a good one. We've had some Walking Dead games which have been bad, and we've had a fair few of them now. Obviously, we've had Telltale.
The game with the brothers with
the shooter
survival instinct. I don't even remember the game.
Jesus Christ, it was awful.
Yeah, terrible.
So yeah, fingers crossed. It's a good one.
I think they show it. Is what I was trying to say. That took up good 6 minutes. How about Criterion Games, EA, the studio that brought us the Burnout series? I'm thinking maybe they're due for a new game.
What, a new Burnout? Or?
I say a new driving game.
Okay.
I won't say whether it's a Burnout game. Maybe it's something new. But I think they're due for a new game. I mean, See, this is one of those conflicts of like games I want versus what I think will happen.
Yeah, what you think will happen.
I like Burnout 3 because I like crash mode. I don't like driving games. I appreciate driving games, I just don't like to play them.
Right. Like they're very repetitive. Like you played one, you played most of them for that year.
Right. Whereas like Burnout was like Burnout 3 Takedown was the perfect game for me because the crash mode was so awesome. And some of the and then it sucked me into the rest of the game, like the takedown, racing mode, and all that type of thing. Everyone loves Paradise. I'm not so high on Paradise. Because they didn't have a crash mode. So,
but down to personal preference. Right.
But yeah, I think they'll put out. I think they might debut a new driving game.
Yeah, timing's right. I don't see why not.
Yeah. Like a lot of the stuff I'm talking about, I'm just going off of timing. Like how long has it been since they've released a game?
I think that's a lot to do with like predictions as well. Like you just got to look at a student like, okay, they've been quiet for X amount of years. It's probably time. Like what would they be working on? That's how predictions normally come about. So yeah, no, that's a solid one though, man. I'd go with that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that showed up.
Okay, so we did Starbreeze Studios, we did Criterion Games.
I think Shadow of Mordor 2 is definitely coming.
Okay.
That's a big one for me.
I'm sorry, I'm completely lost as who...
Shadow of Mordor was done by Warner Brother Games.
Okay.
WB.
All right.
So, yeah, they've been radio silent since Shadow of Mordor 1, which reviewed really well, sold really well. This makes sense,
Don't play it on...
Them guys have been quiet.
Don't play it on the PS3.
Yeah. Don't play it on the PS3.
Right.
It's horribly optimized.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think that's a solid one. How about Mass Effect Andromeda? What do you think?
I think that's probably going to be the show ender for EA. After, obviously, they've got the Battlefield 1 stuff, which is going to debut all of their sort of multiplayer stuff. And they've actually got two YouTubers, probably the only two YouTubers I actually watch, which is Neebs Gaming and Stone Mountain 64. Both really funny guys. Go and check them out if you can.
I've never heard of
but they're both
like...
Yeah, no, they're funny guys, though. But they're actually going up against each other on Battlefield 1. But I think after that, the show is probably going to end with Andromeda, like a massive blowout, like gameplay, release date,
as you would think
everything.
They would, right?
Yeah, they should do. I mean, the time is right. They've been working on it. Everyone's waiting for it. Everyone's hyped. The time is right, man.
Tactically, yes. Strategically, yes. All right. So we got that out of the way. Obviously, DICE is going to be Battlefield 1. Do you think that they'll show any Star Wars Battlefront? Are they still pushing DLC for that?
I think that's DLC. Yeah. I think they're going to show DLC for that. Same with Destiny guys as well. I think Bungie are going to show more DLC rather than Destiny 2. Maybe we'll see Destiny 2. I don't know, but I think they're definitely going to push DLCs in them games.
What was that called? The Flag of Iron, the Iron Skillet, something. This is going into a. You'll realize what we're talking about in a bit, but
the Iron Skillet,
something of iron, the Dawn of Iron. Whatever. Yeah, Destiny DLC.
Iron Clash. Right. Yeah, the Skillet.
Yeah. Okay, how about Bethesda? Obviously,
Bethesda are a tough one. They are the tough one. Obviously, we've got Dishonored 2 coming,
right?
Which you're excited about, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, and it's funny because at an earlier podcast reload episode, my content call out was the Dishonored 2 stuff that GI had been releasing because it was the cover of last month, I believe. But then I
Right.
didn't even look at any of that content because
Yeah, because you're on media
I'm
blackout,
on media
right?
blackout for it. Yeah. So while I promoted it, I haven't seen anything because I want to go into this fresh. Because Dishonored is one of my favorite games of all time, and really, really excited for Dishonored 2.
It's going to be great, man.
I mean, that's
going to
be release date, gameplay blowout type stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. Like, outside of Dishonored 2, what else have Bethesda really got to show? And they've got a conference again this year, which is why I think everyone is, like, sort of curious about Bethesda more than anyone else, because really, they've only got Dishonored 2 to really blow out. So that means they've got some juicy surprises for us. So what do you think they are?
Elder Scrolls 6. I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No, that's not going to happen. And I've seen this a few times on Sifted as well. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's Elder Scrolls 6." I'm telling you,
Not yet.
it's like, no, it's not. Like Division 1 work on Fallout and Elder Scrolls. They've just finished Fallout. If they can make an Elder Scrolls game in 6 months, I'll eat my own balls. I'm not even kidding.
I mean, don't they need a new engine first?
Oh my god, yeah, they do. But we're not even going to get into that. But
First you get the khakis, then you get the girls. Sorry, that's a basketball joke.
Good times. But yeah, what I think will come out, if the biggest thing that could happen, I think an Obsidian Fallout game might get announced. Maybe. Like the New Vegas to Fallout 3. Obsidian have been quiet for a while. The hell are they working on? I don't know. But this could be the
I'd be excited because I absolutely loved Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Loved it.
Yeah, how about any games from Ubisoft, which obviously I can't talk about.
You can't say anything about it, yeah.
I can't say anything, but I'd like to hear like what you think.
Well,
what do you want to see from those guys?
I actually, like, okay, so I have a piece of paper in front of me, and I've circled things in blue that, like, have stood out to me, like, okay, this is what I think will happen, so...
Right.
So I have Ubisoft written down here. I have For Honor. I have South Park.
For Honor looks good, man. It looks like a good game.
Yeah. I the idea, just the premise of it is awesome. I think.
Yeah.
And it looks it looks really cool. I think.
I'm hoping that a release date got shown at least.
Right. Obviously, South Park, Fractured Butthole.
That game looks awful. That looks really bad.
Yeah. Who worked on that game?
I don't know.
Especially like the clothing and
the costume. Terrible.
Horrible. Yeah. Whoever did that should be fired immediately.
Just so like some listeners might not know, like I'm working on that game and I designed the costumes as Evan is so eloquently trolling me right now. So
this is awkward. That's why.
Yeah, awkward. But yeah, obviously I can't talk about it. But will it be at E3? I don't know. Maybe.
Right. No, maybe I think not. It will. I think I'm saying release date.
Okay.
I'm saying release date. Obviously, you have Ghost Recon Wildlands being shown.
Looks cool, yeah.
They showed... Was that last year as well that they showed it?
That was last year,
That was the opener, right? Okay, so they showed that. I say release date for Wildlands. The only thing that's hanging over this... So it's like... All of these are givens, right? South Park given, Ghost Recon given, For Honor given.
All right, what about the unannounced stuff?
Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know.
I say they're going to show it.
I don't know, because there was talks of Nintendo buying that IP.
That is true.
Which is weird. But I don't know. Like, going off that... I don't know. Like, I literally do not know, like, either way. Like, not even behind the scenes stuff. I have no idea about that game.
I say something. Teaser, something. I don't necessarily think gameplay, but...
That'd be cool.
Just, it was like the whole Last Guardian thing. Like, everyone, just so you know, this does exist. Right.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like, so
do you remember when we were on the fence of, like, does the Last Guardian even exist anymore? Like, is this project, like, in the can? And it was like, finally, they had said, like, okay, we need to get out in front of this and just let people know that this is actually happening. I think they might do that.
No, it's a good idea.
All right.
What else?
For Ubisoft, that's it. I don't have anything else to.
Fair enough. Yeah, I obviously can't talk about it because I know some stuff which is coming.
Right.
But yeah, I even know some stuff that which is coming like the year after, and they've got a good couple of years ahead of them. That's all I'll say.
Which blows my mind, to be honest.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, obviously they're going for all the shit with Vivendi at the minute, and all that stuff in the background. But on the back of all that, they're churning some good stuff out, man. Like if people are fan of Ubisoft games, then they should definitely be excited about it.
Yep, definitely. Vin, we've covered a lot of third party.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else? I
Not
don't.
really. I don't think so. I mean, apart from the stuff that's obviously already been announced, I mean, nothing huge. I obviously want to see a bit more of Titanfall 2 because I never got to play the first one. This one's obviously going to be on multi-platform, so I'll be able to play that one on the PS4, which will be nice.
Did you say competitive multiplayer?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
You peasant. Get out of here.
No,
I think that's about it.
They'll show that for sure. I mean,
yeah, I think so.
Hey, hopefully, are they doing campaign? Did they say as much?
Yes, they did. I think that's pretty much a given as well.
That's the thing about this stuff. It's like the idea of mechs and Titans falling and all that stuff. It's like, oh, okay, campaign, awesome. Like I'd be in for that. But does that wrap this up? I think we might have.
I think so. What else? Red Dead Redemption 2. What are the odds?
Ooh, I mean, this is the thing that everyone wants to believe is true.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see it, but I don't think I'll be there. Just purely because it's Rockstar.
Oh, and they don't give a shit about E3.
They don't care. Like, and I think that is a game big enough for them to announce whenever they want.
They can do whatever they want. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think they need the media of E3 per se.
I want it. I don't think it's going to be there.
Amen. Yep, I'm right there with you on that one. I think. But yeah, other than that, I hope it's a good one for third parties. They're the ones that keep the consoles alive outside of the first party. So yeah. Lots of good stuff coming, I'm sure. Right. We're not going to go too deep into PC because obviously most of the stuff that comes out on PC is obviously covered in third party. I'm not really, personally, I haven't got any predictions for any PC-based exclusive games. I'm not sure if you have either, Evan.
No, I apologize to people that...
Yeah, we're not huge PC gamers, not like in any detriment to any fans that are listening to us. Like, but saying that, like, if you're listening to this on Sifted, then we'd love to hear your predictions in the comments. You know, like, tell us what the hell we're actually going to see for PC outside.
Oh yeah,
of the
definitely.
party.
So yeah, we're going to skip the PC conversation, but have that conversation in the comments.
Please do, because I want to see it. You know, I want to see what people are curious about. Outside of hardware.
V Hero, I know he's a massive PC gamer, so yeah.
Yeah, Erebus Jones as well.
Erebus Jones, yeah. Get in the comment section. Start talking about it.
Yeah, we want some juicy stuff.
I'm sorry, I'm totally out of my league with PC conference, so I apologize.
Yeah, I want a new Broken Sword game or a Homeworld 2, Homeworld 3 even. Like they're the only things that I know about. I haven't played PC in years, man. I'm such a noob when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, anyway, coming up to the end of the podcast, actually, we just wanted to give a massive sorry about last week. We do apologise. We obviously had a audio failure with our guest of the week, was Nick, the Impartialist. He's known on Sifted as the Impartialist.
Right.
And we were unfortunate enough to lose some audio from him, and you know, we didn't want to put out half an episode without his voice in it, like really awkwardly. So,
and we had a really good conversation with him. He was an awesome guy,
as well, yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely have him on as soon as we can after E3. Yep. So please stay tuned. We'll definitely have him on again. And we apologize for the absence, but obviously it was probably good timing, bad timing, I should say. Like with everything that had happened with Sifted, you know, I don't think I would have felt too great about just putting out a random podcast like in the middle of all
right.
That.
It was a bit of a somber week.
Yeah, it was a strange one. But yeah, other than that, we've got another announcement. Do you want to talk about that one, man?
Yeah, so actually, we've been kind of hinting at it this entire episode, and we tried to keep away from the information as much as possible in terms of E3 predictions, and that's because we actually, Podcast Reload did a collaboration with, as we all know, Ultimate Brent, the mastermind, architect, PC...
Divine Architect.
That's right, Divine Architect of Sifted, Ultimate Brent. We did a collaboration E3 predictions podcast between Big Bada Boom Cast, which is his podcast that's been running for 130 plus episodes.
Yeah, they're almost 140. It's crazy.
Yeah, so we actually got on, Vin and I got on a Google Hangout with Brent, Adam, Ryan, those three. And we all had 3 bold predictions, and on the podcast we run through each prediction and then give it what we think the percentage, the likelihood of that prediction actually happening at E3. And Brent typed all that information into
a skillful spreadsheet in which we're going to work out all the answers.
And
it's going to be
cool. After all is said and done and the dust settles, there will be a victor. And I don't know if it did. I don't know. I had a great time. It was the first
great time
meeting those guys, and I think it went really well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm really curious to see how the results come out. But outside of that, we just had a lot of fun, just shooting the shit and just talking about video games. So you should definitely go and check out Big Bada Boom Games, Big Bada Boom Games podcast, or just Big Bada Cast, Big Bada Boom Cat. Oh, I can't even get my words out.
I'm trying to think. Yeah,
it's so fun to say though. Big Bada Boom.
So
Cast.
It's Big Bada Boom Games, but then the podcast itself might just be the Big Bada Boom
Big
podcast.
Bada Boom Cast. Right, okay. But yeah, you should definitely go and check out them guys. They just have really casual talks about video games. It's not too... our podcast is quite structured, and not in a good way, not in a bad way or anything. It's just a very different podcast to Big Bada Boomcast, which is a lot more casual. It's just a few guys hanging out and just talking about video games, so definitely check them out. We're going to be on their next episode, we think. We think it's coming out in the next episode, but it'll be out before E3 either way.
I'm guessing it'll be this...
Yeah.
This week.
Probably within this week, yeah. So definitely go and check that out. Go and listen to us fumble around and talk about our crazy E3 predictions. And they are crazy.
There are some
There are just some out so left field you wouldn't have even thought about it, and they've been said. So definitely go and check it out.
I was not ready for some of those.
Yeah, honestly, man, I was just like, you can't be serious. It's
Adam.
Man, that totally could happen. Yeah, Adam, if you're listening to this, man, yeah. You are a soldier. I don't even know how you came up with that stuff.
And he won last year. He won the Big Bada Boom E3 predictions last year, yeah. So
apparently he predicted Final Fantasy VII Remake and The Last Guardian, and Brent laughed at him. Oh, Brent and Ryan laughed at him, and they ended up eating their words. So you never know. We might be getting a sequel to a much beloved game, which I won't spoil here. But yeah, definitely go and check it out.
Give it a listen. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, other than that, coming up to the end of the podcast, just want to say a massive thank you for tuning in, as always. Obviously, without our guest this week, it's just been the two of us, which has actually been not too bad, man. I was kind of worried about it, but yeah, it was all right.
No, I filled up more time than I thought we were going to, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I'll probably have to cut this one down a little bit, but it'll be all right. But yeah, I just want to say thank you again. Thank you for listening. Thank you for contributing to Sifted again last week, over this week. It's been awesome to see all the support for the site.
Absolutely
to
amazing,
get back on its feet. Yeah, I mean, I'm blown away by it. Just seeing that number fly up past the asked amount just so we can get the standard stuff back is, it's humbling. It's great. It's really, really cool. It's justifying. It shows how awesome our community actually is.
Yeah, I feel like I'm glad I was not proven wrong, because I didn't really make some sort of assumption, but when I woke up and I saw, a bit above $2,000 was donated, I thought, okay, well, we got to work towards this, and then in mere hours, everything was
gone.
Funded.
Yeah, 2.5 hours, and the thing was funded, and it just went past that.
Amazing.
Yeah, great stuff. So yeah, keep it up, keep sifting. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you guys next time. I am at VinHillar on Twitter. You can find me and some of my finger paintings there. How about you, Evan?
I am the Stand User on Sifted, Giant Bomb, and Twitter.
Cool. And obviously you can find me on Sifted as well. I missed that one out. But yeah, I'm always there pretty much 24/7 when everyone else is probably asleep, maybe, and you wake up and I'm just commented on everything. I annoy everyone. I apologise. That's what happens, though, with living in Japan. But yeah, from the both of us here, I'd like to say thank you, and we will catch you guys next time. So, ta-ta.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
What do I say? Oh, yeah. Sayonara.
Sayonara. That one, yeah. Cool.
Miles per hour.
Miles per hour. Sonic the Hedgehog.
You did it.
With the fade out. I know, I did the fade out. Fuck's sake.
Can't escape it.